Oh, hey. Oh, great. Okay. I think everyone can see me now. Sorry, I was just going to type a message saying, like, hey, I'm having, like, problems with this. For the past 5 minutes, it was just, like, looping around and I was uh, refreshing. But yeah. Oh, okay. Hi. Hi, everyone. I got really nervous because I saw, like, someone commented, yeah, I'm not seeing anything yet. I was a bit worried it was just me. It's my first live stream. So sorry about that, Spencer. Sorry that I'm a bit late. And I do hate being tardy. As my old cinematography lecturer said, if you're not 5 minutes early, you're late. Oh, hey, everyone. Oh, it's nice, everyone's. Deadly Assassin, hi. Ollie, Charlie, Vinny, hi. Oh, hi. Oh, where are you, man? Lol, from Zachary. I'm in a new flat right now. I moved 2 months ago. So this is different from the previous flat. And I think one of the reasons why people have been thinking that I've got a new camera is because I've just changed the place where I record the video. So I do it sort of just over there in front of a window, and I sit further forward from the posters. So I guess the focus and the lighting is just much better, really. Okay, it appears the mint julep has taken effect. I do indeed have a mint julep, which until today I thought consisted of more than just whiskey and sugar and mint leaves and ice, but apparently not. Fortunately, I am a whiskey drinker anyway. So, good evening, Commander. Good evening. Godfathers are on the go. Excellent. Godfather, and another very good cocktail. Howdy. Hey, good evening. A new flat for every live stream. That's my goal. Hello from Montreal. Nice green curtain. I was just saying, actually, that I was hoping to get a red one, and I could just go completely Twin Peaks with it, but sadly not to be. I've only got the curtain on because of the light, like because there's a window behind me, so the light wouldn't be very good if I opened it. But it's coming dark now, so maybe later on I'll treat you to a view of the outside of my flat. Does James Bond deserve another Bond game? Sorry, I'm just jumping right in with a question there, but yes, he does, and I am desperate for another Bond game, like more than anything else. I think I would. Oh, sorry, I was just about to say I think I would rather have a Bond game than a Bond film. But no, that's crazy talk. That is the alcohol talking. Actually, bit early for a drink. It's 10 to 8 here in England. It's a perfectly reasonable time for a drink. My mum gets on the gin and tonics at about 3 p.m. in an afternoon these days. Weekend afternoons, not at work. If any of her employers are watching, they're probably not. Hello from New York. Ah, hello. I've never been to New York. I hear there's a really good Bond exhibit there, actually. Is it Skyscape, I think? Good evening. Been playing Everything or Nothing. It is really good indeed. Right. Cue the music show. Hey. The thing. Sorry, I didn't quite see the thing. Good evening, Calvin. Like your black top. Look very live and let die. You just need the shoulder holster. I do. Thank you. That's Cue the Music Show. I'm going to be actually uploading a video about the experience that I had watching that show very recently. Got some good stories to tell from it. And it was a great show as well. So, looking forward to putting that video together. Hi from Texas. Another place I've not yet been, but I would love to go to Texas. I hear it's like a country of its own, like pretty much. I would just be really. Do you think Clancy Brown would have made a good Bond villain? Yes, actually, I really like Clancy Brown, especially as a voice actor. I think he's great. Rosemary and rhubarb, gin and tonic on the go. Excellent. Can I have a shout out, Calvin? Yes, you can, George Gainford. Yes, excellent. Hey, from Norway. Oh wow, people all over. Bond is universal, of course. I'm always quite interested in that, actually. That Bond manages to be so. Multinational, despite obviously being a British icon, an English icon. That's really nice. Is Skyscape in New York good? I don't know. I've not been. I've heard really good things from people. Yeah. So, random fun fact. Bond 25 is filming in a part of Norway not far from where my ancestors came from in 1860s. Very interesting, actually. Anyone know if it's still filming in Norway, if they wrapped up that part of the filming? Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, wow. From Colorado. Oh, I don't know why my light suddenly changed then. There was that that like godly cheers. Skyscape was very enjoyable. Yes. Being James Bond, that's the I think it was on your Instagram account actually where I saw some like photos of a group that had been there. Yeah, I'd like to go. I'd just like to go to the Elements exhibit. That'd be a pretty cool one to go to. But yeah, especially since the Bond in Motion exhibit in London's going to be closing soon, which is a real shame. I've been there about, I think, 3-4 times now. It was really good, really good. When you reach 20k subscribers, will you rank all of the Bond actors? I do have a goal set up on my Patreon page, or if I reach a certain amount on that, I will then do a ranking of all the Bond actors. The problem with that is that it's such a broad question more than anything else, and it would have to be like a multi-part video series, I think. Hello from Earth. Oh, that's interesting. We've got someone from Earth tuning in. Very interesting. Yeah, it's gutting about BIM. Have you ever been to Piz Gloria? I have not been to Piz Gloria. I know that they've got the 50th anniversary, the On Her Majesty's Secret Service anniversary coming up soon, and I would have loved to have gone, but it's, yeah, just not going to work out, I'm afraid. So, oh, hi, Matt. Matt Unwin. I'm very well, thank you. What's your favorite Bond film decade? Is it really bad if I say 90s? I think consistently the 3 Brosnan ones, and also it's just those were the films that I grew up with. That's my childhood. I've got great fond memories of them. So yeah, 90s. Are you also going to do another MI ranking? Like Mission Impossible ranking? Well, I'm going to be reviewing, I'm probably going to be reviewing all the Mission Impossible films over the course if patrons vote for those. So yeah, hopefully at the end of it, I'll do a ranking of all the Mission Impossible ones. What do you think of Rami Malek for a Bond villain? I think he would be fantastic. I only saw Bohemian Rhapsody for the first time a few weeks ago, and I thought he was actually quite brilliant in it. And the film was fine. Not quite sure about the message of like, if only Freddie had been straight and settled down with that nice young girl, everything would have been fine, wouldn't it? Not quite sure. Also, like Freddie Mercury going in a gay bar and being like, "Oh, wow, what?" And people, as if people are leading him astray. Like, I think he was probably the one leading other people astray quite a bit as well. What's your favorite Bond gadget? Well, I'm actually gonna be doing a top 10 Bond gadgets video very soon. So yes, stay tuned for that. My favorite is Elliot Carver. Oh, awesome! I do love a bit of Elliot Carver. Very good. What about the Jason Bourne series? Again, yeah, like I've put that up on my Patreon voting thing. I've got this thing where on Patreon, patrons vote for a non-Bond spy movie review every month. So this month is going to be Austin Powers. So in a couple of days, Austin Powers International Man of Mystery video will be live on the channel. So yeah, I hope everyone enjoys that. Is Jack Ryan on your Patreon? It isn't, but I only put like 4 up a month and I change it around a little bit, but it's a good idea actually. I think I will put it up eventually. This month, I just put it up today, is going to be Mission Impossible 2, Austin Powers 2, North by Northwest, and The Man Who Haunted Himself. Now those last 2 I know are odd choices, but Hitchcock had such a big influence on the Bond series anyway, that I think it would be an interesting thing to look at. And The Man Who Haunted Himself is just a really interesting Roger Moore starring film that I think deserves a bit more attention. And it does get a lot of a good attention. If people haven't seen The Man Who Haunted Himself, I would highly recommend it. It's really great performance by Roger Moore and an interesting story as well. Love North by Northwest. Yes. It is rather splendid. Roger Moore or Pierce Brosnan? Oh, that's really tough. I always tell people that Roger Moore is my favorite Bond. I think Pierce Brosnan is the best. That's the distinction I like to make. Where's your favorite Joker from Batman and why? Interesting question, Sam Harrison. My favorite Joker would probably be Mark Hamill from the animated series. I'm sorry if that's a really dickish thing to do. Like I'm so alternative, but I think that I think Batman the animated series is the best version of Batman ever, and the villains in that are the best of any incarnation. Very, very good. So yeah, Mark Hamill, closely followed by Heath Ledger, I think. The only one I really didn't like was Jared Leto. Okay. In the future, when I get my channel going, do you fancy collaborating? Yes, certainly. I used to not do collaborations all that much because this was just like a hobby, but recently I feel like I'm a bit more treating it a bit more like an actual, not a job. It's not a job. Maybe I'm just being a bit more grown up about it. But I'd like to stick to a schedule and yeah. And I feel like for the past like 8 months or so, the channel is grown to be in quite a good place. So yeah, very good. What do you think the single biggest misstep of the Bond series? Spectre trying to tie everything together, that kind of tainted the whole Daniel Craig era. And that's the problem when a film makes a decision that not only affects that film, but affects how you perceive the other ones in retrospect. That is very problematic. I can still enjoy Skyfall and Casino Royale without thinking that Blofeld's gonna like peer up with a camera from behind a bush. Are there any sports you like to watch? No, I'm not a sporty person at all. To play, well, you don't play swimming, but I used to swim a lot when I was a kid. That was my main physical hobby, if you will. What film are you most excited for this year? I can't wait for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That is also one of my most anticipated films. But probably my most anticipated is going to be Star Wars. I'm so hyped for that, especially after the trailer. Did everyone see the trailer? Because it was, oh yeah, George Gainford just asked. Yeah, no, I think that the trailer looked pretty great, especially because my favorite is C-3PO, my favorite character, and it looks like he's out in the action quite a bit in this new one, so I'm just thrilled about that. Do you like the taste of Martini? I do, actually. I had a Vespa Martini at my last live stream. Sorry, I'm just going to stop talking for a few precious seconds while I sip this delightful mint julep. And now crunch ice obnoxiously into the microphone. Yeah, very nice. Star Wars died the moment Lucas sold it to Disney. I think there's something to be said about it lacking a master storyteller like it used to. I mean, I don't mean master in the sense of genius. I mean master just in the sense of someone is in charge and has a vision for the whole thing. Whether that vision is good or not, at least it's a vision. Favorite Star Wars trilogy, the main trilogy, A New Hope to Return of the Jedi, for sure. Martini or mint julep, which do you prefer? Interesting. I prefer a Vespa. Vespa over mint julep over vodka martini. That's the distinction. But I just have my preference would be bourbon, no ice. That would be my drink of choice. Game of Thrones starts today, and I cannot wait. I mean, I'm not watching it tonight because I think it's going to be airing at like 3 a.m. here or something like that. But after work tomorrow, got a couple of friends coming over, so we're going to watch it. I'm basically just going to avoid social media for the entire day because I do not want anything spoiled. Do you like Die Hard? I think it's all right. I don't love it, but I don't really like American action films all that much. Are you looking forward to the live-action Lion King? No, because I love the animated one. I absolutely love it, and I just don't see the point in doing it exactly the same again, but just with more lifelike graphics. I like stylized animation. That's why 2D animation is still my favorite. I think the next live stream you drink through the top 7 Bond drinks. Well, that is not a bad shout, actually, the Bond experience, because I do have, I mean, I don't know if I've got this Bond cocktail book, and it's not that great, I don't think. It's one of those things where it's like they do have, you know, the Vesper and the mint julep and all this, but then some of them are just really tenuous. It's like, oh, here's a blood martini. Because Bond kills a lot of people, doesn't he? But does he ever actually drink a blood martini? I don't think he does. Some of them in that recipe book are a little bit tenuous. Least awful Disney remake. I really liked Cinderella, the live-action Cinderella. I never thought I would be talking about the live-action Cinderella movie on this live stream, but here we are. What do you think of Aladdin coming out? Got a lot of Disney fans today, or am I just sorry? Like, I just like focusing my eyes on like one question and then waffle on for a bit. So if you ask me the same thing over and over again, I will probably eventually spot it. Okay. Right. Does Bond drink blood? I hope not. I hope not too. That would be a bit weird. Best James Bond haircut. That's brilliant. Oh. Pierce Brosnan in The World's Not Enough was pretty good. That was a haircut you could set your watch to. I like that. Okay. Dad, come back. Oh. Am I your... I don't have a son, I don't think. Do you ever travel to the US? Last time I was in the US was, I think, in 2015, something like that. Yeah, so I've currently got no plans. But, you know, I've been, Florida obviously as a tourist, and then San Francisco, San Diego, Las Vegas. So, you know, been to a few places, and yeah, I do like it. Best James Bond teeth. It's not something I've really picked up on, actually. Okay. What is your favorite episode of the Batman animated series and why? Oh, it's hard to pick one. Probably, I know that this is a bit of a stereotypical one, but is it Heart of Ice, the Mr. Freeze one? That one is really awesome. Can you speak any other languages? No, I cannot, sadly, which we're very bad here in the UK with teaching kids other languages. Jaws for best teeth. That's what I should have said. To that. Ugliest Bond film. That's an interesting question. I'm assuming you mean like cinematography wise and all that. I think some of the John Glenn films are a bit ugly looking. I think that For Your Eyes Only is especially flat, and especially when they're on a soundstage, when they're doing some of the interior soundstage work, everything looks so flat, and the lighting, I'm not a massive fan. Diamonds is ugly. Yeah, I would agree with Caleb on that one. That one, it doesn't bother me so much because it's set in Las Vegas. It's just got this sort of sleaziness to it. And I don't know if it's like the film stock or what, the cameras or what, but there's something about it that looks more cinematic than the John Glenn 5. I think Octopussy looks pretty good. License to Kill. Quantum is ugly. Yeah, I agree with that. I swear this keeps getting brighter and brighter. Should I try turning off this light? Oh, no, that did dreadful things. Let's just leave it be. It's because the sun's going down outside, so I'm sorry if the lighting is being incredibly erratic. What's the sleaziest film stock? I didn't mean the film stock was sleazy for Diamonds Are Forever. I just meant the overall vibe of Diamonds Are Forever is a little bit sleazy. Dine in the Day is ugly looking with the bad CGI. I quite agree with that as well. The stream is buffering. Oh, I hope that's not the case for everyone. I hope that's just temporary. Would you make a good Bond, Calvin? Yes, I would, Omega 31. I would make an excellent Bond. I'd make a terrible Bond. Could you imagine a slightly camp northern Bond? That would not be... no one would like that. I think if I could aspire to be a character in a Bond film, it would be Q. Or, like I said earlier on, I think on the Patreon live stream, Villiers, M's substitute Moneypenny in Casino Royale. I think I'd do a damn good job in that role. Do you like the Rocky films? I haven't seen them, actually. Or at least I think I've seen the first one like years and years ago, but I certainly haven't seen the sequels. Favorite comedians? John Cleese is up there. Absolutely love him. I love Monty Python. Peter Sellers is hilarious. Pink Panther, all those. Absolutely adore. Catherine Ryan, I think, is brilliant. I don't watch much stand-up, but Paul Merton, actually, I really like. Yeah. Calvin, I'm currently working on my 4th James Bond fan film. Well done. Death is Forever. And I was wondering if you'd be interested in playing the role of Q in the film. No joke. Oh, thank you. That's very flattering. As I said, perhaps if Villiers was in the film, perhaps. No, I'm certainly no actor. What's your favorite Joker episode of Batman the Animated Series and why? Oof, that's good. I don't know. There's so many great Joker ones. Most of the ones where it focuses on his and Harley Quinn's relationship are pretty good. Just to see how a kids series handles such a dark as hell relationship like the one that they've got. Doctor Strangelove review. Maybe that's one for the patron voting. What's your favorite Pink Panther film? Pink Panther Strikes Again. I love that. Where what's his name? Herbert Lom's character, Inspector Dreyfus, goes completely nuts. I love that film so much. I think you could do well with voice acting Bond, at least. Well, yes, I quite agree with that. Sorry, we just keep getting mouthfuls of ice, and it must be really obnoxious when you're listening to this to just hear crunching. There we go. Next time I'm going to have a cocktail without ice. This is a bit too much. Lana Del Rey for Bond title sequence music. Yep, I would be up for that. I think she's got that right kind of sultry, smoky kind of voice, which is nice. Just how underrated is Alien 3? That is quite a specific question. I did talk about the Alien films in my last live stream, I think, and I did express a fondness for Alien 3, which I do think is a fabulous film and severely underrated. Have you ever seen Being There? Yes, I have. And I wanted to like it a lot more than I did. It didn't make me laugh as much as I thought it would. It just sort of made me a bit uncomfortable in places. When Shirley MacLaine's on the floor, like, touching herself and all that, I was just a little bit like, oh, not sure about this. Alien 3 is underrated. Charles Dance is great. Yes, Charles Dance. You know what I watched? I finally watched Johnny English Strikes Again or Strikes Back, whichever the third Johnny English film is. I finally watched it last night, and Charles Dance has a really funny cameo in that I really like. How much do you think Moneypenny makes? I would say between £37,000 annual salary and maybe 42, something like that. Which country would you like to see Bond in next? I'd quite like to see him in Canada, actually. He goes to Canada in a couple of the stories I've read. So I think that would be quite interesting. The funding stories. What is something you're really into that no one expects you to be interested in? The X Factor? That's the thing that people are always like, I'm a diehard X Factor fan, which is bizarre. And like, people are always like, why do you watch that terrible show? And I know it's a terrible show. I know it's horrible, but I can tell you who won every series for the past like 16 years or whatever. I don't even like pop music that much. I listen to Radio 2 in the morning. I don't know why. Modern pop music, anyway, I don't like. I know that Radio 2 does play pop music. Favorite Q glasses? I actually think the glasses that he gives Bond are some of the worst gadgets. Those horrible ones Roger Moore wears in A View to a Kill to see through the tinted glass or minimize the reflection or something, and he's just like moving the dials around, looking so inconspicuous. He's just like, this is terrible. This is the opposite of what the gadget should do. It would have been probably more subtle if Bond had just gone right up to the glass and gone like that to see in. Best X Factor winner. Good question. Probably Leona Lewis. The runners-up tend to be better often. What's your opinion on the Tim Burton Batman films? I love Batman Returns, the one with Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. I freaking adore Michelle Pfeiffer. I think she's absolutely phenomenal. And as Catwoman, she's just fantastic. I absolutely love her. Can't think of enough positive things to say about her. You plan on reading the continuation novels after Fleming? Yes, that is my plan. I just want to read everything. Now that I'm on the roll that I'm on, I just want to read all of the official Bond publications, which I'm quite looking forward to, because I hear that some of the John Gardner ones are a bit batshit crazy, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping that Bond gets into space in at least one of them. Okay, do you think Bond 25 should continue being dark and moody like Spectre, or lighten up a bit? Lighten up, for goodness sake, lighten up. Hello, Calvin, how are you? I can't wait to see the review of 007 Racing. Thank you, Mark Coggins. That's, yeah. I'm very much looking forward to talking about that one. Calvin, do you think they should retcon Spectre and have Blofeld from that movie be an imposter in order to protect the real Blofeld? I would rather than just ignore Blofeld completely. Now, that's it. Will you be reading the Moneypenny Diaries? You know what? I have like a shelf. I don't just keep the Moneypenny Diaries next to me at all times. I do have other Bond books next to me. But yeah, you know, for some reason, I saw this in a bookshop years ago, like before I started reading any of the Fleming books. And for some reason, I bought it, and it has sat unread on my shelf ever since. It has been to so many new flats with me since I've moved around in the past, like, 10 years. And I still haven't read it. Is it good? Will Brexit affect Bond? I think they're just going to completely ignore the subject completely. I don't think they're going to talk about it. I think they don't want to be seen to be either for or against, because they know that it's such a contentious issue that it would alienate someone somewhere. So I recommend the Young Bond books. Yeah, no, someone else recommended those to me recently, actually. And I was a big fan of Alex Rider, the Alex Rider series when I was growing up. That was like, and they're basically like junior Bond books, and they were very good. When will the 007 Racing review come out? It'll probably be later next month in May. I've got the next few that are going to be coming up is Top 10 Bond Gadgets, and then Thunderball book review, Spy Who Loved Me book review. There's going to be a review of the Cue the Music show, but I'm just going to be putting that up probably this week. And then there's the Austin Powers review that's going to be up in 3 days. I had a really productive weekend of making video stuff. What do you think of Johnny English Strikes Again? I didn't care for it. I think it might have been my least favorite of all three, because I thought Johnny English Reborn is actually really good. Like, because I watched them all again recently, and I do quite like that one. It's really nice. I stopped watching Game of Thrones for you, Calvin. Why did you stop watching Game of... Oh, sorry, you're watching other series. I was like, wait a minute. The new episode can't have aired yet. That's tonight, isn't it? Well, I appreciate that. I spent the past 6 months rewatching all of Game of Thrones again, and it's so good. I absolutely love it. Have you seen the Steve Martin Pink Panther movies? No, I haven't, Billy, actually. I just don't want to sour my memory of the movies that I like. Opinion on Jack Nicholson as Joker? Yeah, he's good. He's great. I mean, I really like that movie, and it's perfect for him. Tim Burton obviously focusing more on the villain than he does on the hero, but that's all good when you've got Jack Nicholson as the Joker. What do you think of Us? I haven't seen Us, actually. Worst Game of Thrones season. I am not a huge fan. No, actually, that's a lie. I'm a huge fan of all the series. Probably the first one, you know, when they didn't have the budget. And I remember when I first watched the first series like years ago, it was a bit of a slog to get through, because sorry, I just saw my dad asks if you're reacting to me. Lenham, is that your name? Lenham Voss? I am reacting to you, Lenham Voss. You can tell your dad that. No, I think that the first series is just a little bit too... They didn't have the budget to tell the story that they wanted to tell, and I think certain aspects suffer because of that. And when I was first watching it, the first series was a bit of a slog to get through, but then as soon as the twist at the end of series 1 happens, it's pretty great. Yeah, and then I was just completely hooked. I remember when I first was watching it, the first 4 seasons had already aired, and I was sort of jumping in halfway through, really. And I watched all of season 4 in one day. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Worst movies that Game of Thrones actors were in. That's a bit of a broad question. I don't quite know if I can answer that because there's been a lot. Favorite non-Bond Connery movie? I really like The Rock. It's probably the only good Michael Bay film. Sorry, I just read Lennon Voss's comment. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. That's very mangling it horribly in my horribly English way. Going to London soon. Well, you must go to the door that Bond goes in Dine of the Day, DMW Death Metal Wrestling. You should go to the House of Parliament, then go across the bridge and find that door and have a photo in front of it. That's what I did recently. When do you think we will get a press conference? I was hoping it'd be like an Easter treat for us all next week, but now I don't think that's going to happen. I think it'll probably be in a couple of weeks. And they'll probably tell us like the day before it actually happens, which, means that I'll have to find a spot in the office where I can just hide with my laptop and watch it. How is the mint julep, Calvin? Good evening, Mr. Dyson. Good evening, Dom. The mint julep is very good. It doesn't look like I'm actually drinking it because there's so much freaking ice in this. And I'm trying not to just continually drink because then you're not hearing me slurp and chomp on ice. David Arnold or Thomas Newman? David Arnold, definitely David Arnold. My chair almost cracked under my enthusiasm for David Arnold then. I thought Thomas Newman's score for Spectre was probably the worst of any Bond film. Like, literally, it could just be the exact same cues as Skyfall. Like, they might not have even recorded new music. They probably just slapped it on. Whichever. Did you hear about the new writer today? Yes, I did, Caleb Henshaw, and I'm a huge Killing Eve fan. So Phoebe Waller-Bridge being drafted in to help touch up the Bond 25 script is like my ideal scenario. I'm like so totally on board with that. Yeah, very, very excited that she's going to be involved in some way. Her dialogue is just so sharp. Phenomenal. Chinese or Indian takeaway? I would always go for an Indian takeaway. I love a madras and a jalfrezi. Jalfrezi is my go-to Indian takeaway curry. Don't even get me started on drinks with ridiculous amounts of ice, so I can relate. Yes, well, quite well. This is self-inflicted. I put my own ice in this. I was looking at Goldfinger because I was like, what glasses do they drink in? Do I need and it's like a tall glass they drink the mint juleps in Goldfinger, and I was looking at them and I was like, there's hardly any ice in their glasses at all, or mint. It's basically just a glass like taller than this of like that much whiskey and then a little bit of ice and a mint sprig on top. Anyway, I'm assuming it was just apple juice or something that they were filming. I'm not implying that any actor was drinking alcohol on set. Ever seen Wild Geese or the Seawolves? I have seen the Wild Geese. Yeah. It wasn't... I didn't love it. But I do... Roger Moore is great, of course. That glass is called a highball. Yes, it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is. It is. Best thing about Dine of the Day, don't say Aston Martin. I do actually quite like the invisible Aston Martin in Dine of the Day. I know that that's a real controversial thing to say, but I think it's really, I think it's quite good. Hi, Adam Vincent. Just recently found your channel. Just wanted to say I'm enjoying the content. Thank you very much for that, Adam. That is very kind. I'll drink to that. So George Gainford, have you seen American Psycho starring Christian Bale? I have, and it's great. I saw it when I was a young kid, and I didn't really have I didn't really understand it was a comedy, so I was just sat there like, what is this? I don't really understand it. And then I saw it later on in life, and then all of a sudden it kind of made sense. And I was just laughing uproariously. And I had that same thing with Monty Python. When I first watched Monty Python, because I was like 9 years old, big fan of Fawlty Towers. They give you, parents give you, DVD for Christmas, and it's Life of Brian. Oh, great. This John Cleese's funny, Basil Fawlty. Watch it. And I just sit there for like 2 hours, like, just not understanding a thing about it. And then I don't know, but like 5 years later, it all just suddenly clicked, and it's like, oh yeah, actually Monty Python is pretty amazing, isn't it? What is your opinion on Batman and Robin? Bat nipples. Pitch or catch or both? I don't play baseball. Favorite Bond poster? Oh no, I don't have it here. Sorry, because I moved. I was like, do I actually have it here? I love Moonraker because of its ridiculousness, and I actually really like The World Is Not Enough as well. I've got a blank wall here, and I'm thinking about maybe getting the World Is Not Enough, the red one. I absolutely love that. That bulges too. Certainly is, Aaron. What is your opinion on Midsummer Murders? I don't know if I've seen it. Ever watched Halloween? Yes, I'm a big fan of the Halloween series. Halloween H2O is my favorite Halloween movie, and I saw the recent one with Jamie Lee Curtis, and I liked it very much. Do you like haphazard stuff? Yes, I do really like haphazard stuff. He's awesome, and he's so articulate and so incredibly smart. He's got a great channel. If you haven't seen it, you should really check it out. He's like really awesome. Could you rank all the Star Wars films on the spot? Okay. Top would be Return of the Jedi, then The Empire Strikes Back, then A New Hope, then Rogue One, The Force Awakens. I haven't seen Solo, and then after that, it would probably for me be The Phantom Menace, The Last Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones, in that descending order, if you caught any of that. Controversial comment of the day: Halloween H2O is your favorite too. Straight Razor Productions, congratulations! It is a great movie. Is your dad a Bond fan? My dad is a Bond fan. Yeah, that was like a thing that we'd always connect over Bond films. I think every time I used to go over to his house at weekends, and I would bring a Bond film, and that would be our Friday night viewing. We would always watch a Bond film. What didn't you like about The Last Jedi? I remember you not being sold on it. I didn't think it was. I felt like it spent so much time telling me that I shouldn't care about things and relishing in that. It was like, oh, we will burn this old Jedi stuff, and it was all obviously a big metaphor for, why do you fans care about all this stuff? Why do you want answers to these questions that don't matter? And it's like, well, I only thought that they mattered because in the very last film you told me that they did, and now you're just getting off on making fun of me for thinking that, oh, maybe there is something more to Snoke. And, I don't know. I felt like it felt a little petulant, I thought. Didn't like Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi. Neither did I. That was another big part of it. Yeah. Aaron Mastriani. Am I pronouncing that right? Mastriani. Aaron Mastriani. Yes. The Last Jedi. Ugh. I can quite agree. John Carpenter should do a Bond score. That would be friggin' amazing. It'd all be like on a keyboard. Agreed 100%. Read Last Jedi. Thank you, being James Bond. That's, yeah. I was a bit nervous, actually, coming out with that opinion, because I know it's a bit of a controversial one. But, yeah, I just thought, and I felt like the new Star Wars films have been so lost because all that The Force Awakens seemed to want to do was remind you of the past and all this stuff that you used to love. Look, it's all the same. And then Last Jedi comes along and is like, look at all these things that you like that we reminded you about. Now watchers ground them into the dirt. And then it's just like, well, what do you want me to do? I just want to be entertained and have a nice story with interesting characters. Last Jedi ruined Snoke, Luke, and Phasma. Yep. Quite agree with that. I loved I do need to watch Solo, Connor Nelson. Yeah. Been on my to watch list for a while. Ever used a Bond quote to flirt with someone? No. I don't think I would ever do that. I can't imagine what Bond quotes would be good to flirt with someone in real life, to be honest. Doctor Who fan? No, I'm not a Doctor Who fan, actually. I remember watching the Christopher Eccleston series and then quite a bit of the David Tennant series after that, just because it was on TV and people were talking about it, but it's not my thing, really. I'm not a huge sci-fi fan, actually. I like Star Wars, obviously, but that's more fantasy than sci-fi. Actually, Doctor Who's pretty fantastical. Have you seen The Blues Brothers? No, I haven't, but that's one of my dad's favorite films, actually. Do you like Indiana Jones? I love Indiana Jones. Yes. I can't wait for the new one. I'm so excited that they're doing another one and they're not just leaving it at The Last Jedi. Not The Last Jedi. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Right. Getting my Lucas films mixed up there. Sure, we're going to crunch some ice again. So I'm just looking around for if I got any whiskey, because this is very weak now. Oh, I do. Aha! I have the foresight to bring along my Jack Daniels. I'm just going to strengthen up a little bit, because there is a lot of ice in it. So, just watering it down a little bit too much. As I said, I usually prefer bourbon with no ice. Brexiteers as Bond villains. Well, yep. I think, yeah. That's too dastardly even for Bond. What do you think is the silliest Bond movie and why? Silliest? I mean, probably... Moonraker's pretty silly, isn't it? But I love it for that. And in spite of that, Skyfall Review Part 2. Oh, Pringle Sauce, yes. That video used to be on YouTube and it isn't anymore because it was copyright claimed. So I may re-upload it, but to be honest, I'm just looking at redoing all of my Bond reviews just because I've grown up quite a bit since then. And I think the quality of the content is a lot better than it used to be back in like 2009 whenever I was making those original videos. So that's why some of them have been taken down, because I'm just kind of gearing up to redo them. Oh, the Bond experience, but at Simon Drake, hilarious. Now I'm like, I missed Simon Drake's comment. What is Simon Drake's hilarious comment? Oh, sorry. This is what I didn't want, but I'm just desperate to know what... sorry. If I scroll, I can't talk. I can barely multitask as it is. Favorite cue lines? I love the whole scene in GoldenEye, actually. They always said the pen was mightier than the sword, and thanks to me, they were right. I think Desmond gives a great performance in GoldenEye, probably his best, but then he's great in License to Kill as well. What Bond film do you think would have benefited from Steven Spielberg directing it? Probably any of the 80s ones. You are my go-to fall asleep channel. Love that voice. I'm not sure if Mr. Bonehead 332, if that is a I think you mean it as a compliment. If I help lull you to sleep, then that is quite all right. Yeah, great. It's a ghetto blaster. Another great cue line. Yes, Sam Money. Brosnan maybe had the best cue scenes. I think he did, because at that point they understood that people really liked them and people really loved Desmond. So they just... I think all of his films do have really great cue scenes, bar probably Die Another Day, which is just a little bit... Yeah, a little bit too much. Have you been to the Bond in Motion exhibit? Yes, I have, Rohan. Rohan? Yes, I have. Oh, sorry, I hit the mic then. Yes, I have. I went for, I think, the third or fourth time a couple of weeks ago with my dad, and it's great. It's going to be closing at, I think, the end of this month, so if you haven't been to it and you're going to be in London in the next couple of weeks, I would highly recommend it. It's a really great thing. Can you tuck me in tonight, Calvin? What, and then talk you to sleep, Simon Drake? Was definitely meant as a compliment. Oh, thank you, Mr. Bonehead. Thank you. All right, Billy Mount. Calvin, I edited and merged scenes from Her Majesty's Secret Service and Diamonds Are Forever to make the connection between films. That is interesting. I would be really interested to know what they would have done had George Lazenby stayed on to do another Bond film and had the public taken to him. It's always very conflicting. I never quite know who, it's like a chicken and egg thing. Was it him quitting, or was it reaction to him that made them not want to go down that route? Rookie Phantom. Hi, Calvin. Have you seen Becoming Bond, the George Lazenby documentary? Yes, I have, and I thought it was really good. Actually, very good. I was talking to... Yeah. Sorry, I was going to bring up the Yeah, sorry. I was going to bring up the Michael Jackson documentary, then that Leaving Neverland thing, and I was going to compare it to that. And then I was like, wait a minute, that's a terrible thing to do. What are you doing? I was just going to, from the perspective of that, I would have liked to have heard more talking heads other than just George. And my go-to comparison was Finding Neverland. Brilliant. Or Leaving Neverland. Finding Neverland. It's not that. Yeah. Why has the quantum commentary never seen the light of day? I would love to know why as well. I love the commentaries on the Bond movies. Did they ever record one for Spectre? Does anyone know? I'd be really curious to know, because that's an astonishingly bare bones disc. My opinions of Koskov and Whittaker are not good. I think they're some of the weakest Bond villains in the franchise. If you wrote Bond 25, how would you write it? Oh, my Bond film would just be batshit crazy. Bond would almost certainly end up in space at some point. Favorite one of your videos? Well, that's a question for other people. I don't really. I think I liked my ranking video that I did recently. I thought that was a pretty solid one. Elton John as Bond villain. Well, yeah, he'd be pretty good, actually. Actually, no, he wouldn't be good, would he? He's a very wooden actor. But as a persona, he'd be quite interesting. Calvin, favorite 007 score? Revue to a Kill is the best. I think it's a really good one. My favorite 007 score? Ooh, that's really tough, because there are so many bits in all the scores that I absolutely love. I don't know. Probably The World Is Not Enough. The World Is Not Enough. It would definitely be one of the David Arnold scores. Remy Steele. You an Oasis fan? I'm not, actually. And that's not that I don't like Oasis. I'm not much of a music person. So that's the thing. If they don't play it on Radio 2 between 7:20 and 8:15 in the morning, I don't know what it is, basically. Werner Herzog as Reboot Blofeld. Yes, Simon Drake. That would be phenomenally good. I love Werner Herzog. I saw Fitzcarraldo a couple of weeks ago for the first time ever, and that was just a crazy film. Like, getting a boat over this hill and actually doing it, and just insane stuff. You should rank the Fleming books after you're done. That is indeed my plan. Yes. Have you ventured into shows like The Avengers, Danger Man, or The Man from U.N.C.L.E.? I haven't, actually. Just because I know there's just so many episodes of them, and it's like, oh, the time it takes would be... Yeah. Oh, glad you could come back, Matthew Picton. Right, predictions for Game of Thrones Season 8. I have no idea. I'm hoping that whatever prediction I might have would be proved wrong. Because I like being surprised. Right, okay. Do you think the press conference delay is because they can't decide on the title? I think it's more because they haven't started principal photography at Pinewood yet. It sounds like they're doing a lot of the location shooting. And yeah, I assume that that's why they're going to wait for all the cast to be assembled, if they've cast everyone yet. And then they'll have the press conference. That's what I'm assuming anyway. What's the creepiest scene in the Bond movies? I think the opening to Octopussy is quite creepy, with the clown and the twins. Like, that scene is actually really intense and good and spooky. And to say it is a man dressed as a clown running away from a pair of knife-throwing circus twins, that's saying something. Did you hear they're rebooting the Pink Panther films? Oh no, what's the point? If you don't have Peter Sellers, then there's absolutely no point. Favorite Game of Thrones character? Cersei Lannister is my favorite Game of Thrones character. She's nuts. I'm seeing some message retracted. Cameron McCulloch, your message is retracted. Is that from your own doing, or can I access that somewhere else? This is quite, yeah. Oh, interesting. Can you do a Stan and Ollie review? I haven't seen Stan and Ollie yet, actually, but I would quite like to. I'm a big Laurel and Hardy fan. Sorry, again, look, I've hardly made a dent in this thing. All the ice that's in it. I don't know if the mint's adding that much. Maybe I didn't prepare it quite right. But this isn't as good as the Vespa Martini. What do you think of Netcross? Budgie smugglers. Big old budgie in his crotch. That's what I think of Necros. Goldfinger drink. Yes, it is. It's the mint julep. Your ice is melting. It is indeed. But I don't want to leave and go and get a fresh one, because then it's very unprofessional to leave the live stream with just this grubby looking curtain. I suppose maybe I could. No, I'm not gonna leave. Traditional but refreshing. Quite right. Favorite Netflix original series? Oof. I just finished watching Sex Education the other day, and that was really good. I really enjoyed that. Netflix original series are kind of the kind of things where, like, when I get into them, I will be dedicated to them for a week, and I will think it is the best thing in the world. Like House of Cards, when I was watching that, I was just like, this is amazing. This is the best show I've ever seen in my life. And then there'll be a gap in waiting for the next series, and then the next series will come and I'll be like, yeah, I can't be bothered really. I did that with a series of unfortunate events as well, which I do really like. And those books were actually my favorite books when I was a kid. But yeah, basically I need to wait for an entire series to be completed and be on there, and then I will watch it all. I'm from Florida, where ice is a must. David Logan Jr., I hope it's very sunny there for you. Oh, it's nighttime here now. Which James Bond actor should return as a villain? Oh, that is a very good question. Denise Richards. Do you like Queer Eye, the new one? I do. I just think it gets a little bit too repetitive for me. And those kind of makeover shows are just, they live and die on the subject for that particular episode, basically just like breaking down and coming out with this big emotional story and whatever. And I never like it when you can tell that the presenters are baiting that person into having this big emotional moment, and they're just being like, oh, it's really sad when your mum left you, wasn't it? That's really horrible. Do you want to cry now? Do you want to cry on my shoulder so we can get this very nice shot in? Richard Madden for next Bond, I would love that. I would absolutely love Richard Madden to be the next Bond. Him and James Norton from Happy Valley are actually my two favorite contenders. I'm not sure if they'll get it. They probably won't. I think the next Bond is probably going to be someone who we're not talking about, who we haven't heard of, and that's probably the right impulse. Who's your ideal pick for a Bond director? Me. That's who, me. Calvin, my boy. Yes, quite right. Which Bond locations have you visited? Several in London. Abroad, I don't think I've been to any abroad, just the ones that are sort of in London. I actually got to watch them filming a little bit of Skyfall when they were filming that. I first moved to London then in 2011. I moved down, and then they were filming in 2012, and I saw the scene. They were filming Judi Dench and Rory Kinnear in the car on the bank of the Thames as they're going to the MI6 building just before it blows up, and I got to see them doing that. And I was very excited because the car drove past and Judi Dench was looking out the window, and we made eye contact, and I spent the rest of the day telling everyone I made eye contact with Judi Dench. And then like the next week, there was the news article that was coming out about how she's got cataracts and she's like pretty much blind. So I was like, oh, okay, well, we didn't make eye contact after all then, did we? My dad has been to the James Bond Island in Thailand. Ah, that's pretty awesome. I would love to visit that place, actually. Okay, do you remember the blue dots on Golden Gun's gun barrel? Vaguely. Why do you ask? Ever played Hitman or No One Lives Forever or any of the non-Bond Bondish games? I did play a demo of Hitman very recently, actually, and yeah, it's like so Bondian. It's like really, really cool. I do need to get the whole thing because I need something to help me get through this Bond video game drought. Oh, hey, Dutch Bond fan. Hello. We should totally go to the Bond 25 premiere along with other Bond YouTubers. Well, if you can get me a ticket, then yes, absolutely. I would absolutely love that. I'd love to go to a Bond premiere. That'd be really lovely. If you can hook me up, that'd be all right. No One Lives Forever is GOAT. What is GOAT? Oh, it's a euphemism, isn't it? What does I've seen people on Twitter say stan quite a lot, and I don't know what that means. Domino or Fiona Volpe? Fiona Volpe, definitely. I went to Windsor's today to get trainers, and they played Die Another Day. I hear Die Another Day in the most odd places. I heard it in a restaurant I was in for my birthday maybe it was just last year actually, and they were just playing like just modern pop songs, and then all of a sudden Die Another Day came on, and I had no idea why. It means an obsessive fan, goat or stan. Calvin, which serious Bond film would you like to see done as a comedy and vice versa? Diamonds Are Forever serious? You're saying that Diamonds Are Forever isn't serious? I'd like to see a serious Moonraker just to see what that would be like. And I would like a comedy License to Kill. Stan means an obsessive fan, a reference to the Eminem song of the same name. Interesting. Stan Stalk. Interesting. Okay, so I stan James Bond? Is that correct? Out their opinion, Quantum of Solace is good. More power to you, MJL. More power to you. Sorry, excuse me again. Ice crunching. I know, terribly rude and horrible, but. What kind of character would you be if you got a part in a Bond movie? I was saying this earlier on. I'm pretty sure I'd be Villiers, M's fake money penny from Casino Royale. That's right up my alleyway. Check out The Prisoner, the original one. I've heard very good things about The Prisoner, actually. Yeah, that's one that I've been meaning to check it out. Oh, when's the GoldenEye at 64 review coming? Well, I've got a few PS1 games to go first, and then and actually, The World Is Not Enough on the N64, and then we'll be getting to GoldenEye 64. I haven't played that game in so long. I'm actually quite intimidated about going back to it, because I'm just really nervous that it's not going to live up to memories, and yeah, Oh, that is an unpopular opinion, Cameron McCulloch. The On Her Majesty's Secret Service is terrible. Brilliant movie. I absolutely love it. Future Bond film to be based on the Moonraker novel plot. I'd like that. Yeah, but I mean, they already kind of did that with Die Another Day, I think. There's a lot of similarities there. Die Another Day is more similar to the novel of Moonraker than the film Moonraker. Why is the double take pigeon the best extra in a Bond film? Because he has such charisma. That's why. I've told this plenty of times before, so sorry if you've heard this before, but I did attend a screening of Moonraker where William Cartledge, who was the associate producer, I believe, on Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker, and I think he was the assistant director on You Only Live Twice. Anyway, he works with Lewis Gilbert a lot, and I asked a question about the double take pigeon. I was like, well... what about that pigeon then? And he was like, oh, what do you mean? I'm dead proud of that shot. You don't know how long it took us to find that pigeon and glue it to a board and set the camera up. And I was like, glued it to a board. Interesting. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Bond Experience. Oh, sorry, you just mentioned that they gave me and Dutch Bond fan a shout out, which is very kind. Very kind indeed. Do it over to the Bond Experience, actually, and Dutch Bond fan, and being James Bond, actually. Really, really nice guys, and really great, especially on Instagram. I especially enjoy the Bond Experience and being James Bond. The Caddy and Goldfinger beats out the pigeon. Oh, I love Hawker. It's Hawker, isn't it? But it's your runner, sir. He's great. For the longest time, like when we were at school and we would be playing tennis, I think that the rackets were Slazenger. So every time we'd be like, I'm playing a Slazenger 1. That was how we nerds amused ourselves in high school. The pigeon was the key to all of this, George Lucas. Very good. Have you read the Anthony Horowitz Bond books? Thoughts? No, I haven't actually, because I'm trying my best to just like read all the Bond films, read all the Bond books in chronological order. So yeah, I'm on Her Majesty's Secret Service at the moment. Yeah. When are you gonna blow up Sebastian Gorka's lair? I don't know what that means, Renee. Who is Sebastian Gorka? Hey, from Houston, Texas. Hey, he plays a Slazenger 1. Thoughts on a James Bond musical? Well, there was going to be one, wasn't there? Because Harry Saltzman's daughter was looking into doing some kind of unofficial musical. I'd be up for it, I guess. Yeah, why not? Why not? Sorry, I'm just going to take a few good glugs of this. Because when I was pouring this, I was like, God, I'm going to be hammered tonight. But actually, it's it's fairly drinkable. No love for Sandor. No love for Sandor, I'm afraid. That would be Jaws's buddy from The Spy Who Loved Me. Do you get the same satisfaction from Bond books as the films? Oh no, Cameron, it's a very different experience. I think the films are better. I know it's always a big thing that the books are always better than the films. They're not. The Bond films are very much their own thing, and I think they're better than the books. That's not to say the books aren't great. Some of them are really great. But yeah, I prefer the films. The films are more up my alley, but very much enjoying the read through. Oh, thank you, Wayne Downey. Very kind of you to say. Thoughts on Imagine Dragons? Ooh, Believer was one of my favorite songs of last year. Really, really enjoyed that. Imagine Dragons is for Bond theme music, possibly. I'd like them to use more bands for Bond theme tunes. I'd really love Muse to do one. I don't think we'd still be talking about the Fleming books had it not been for the movies. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that. The 00 Files. Yeah. I don't know. Sorry, I was just looking at them then, just sort of like reminiscing about the time reading them. I have loved Moonraker and Dr. No have been my favorites by far. From Russia with Love is phenomenal as well. Yeah. Casino Royale's good. I enjoyed that. But yeah, it's a mixed bag. I finished The Spy Who Loved Me last week, and that was a chore. That was a slog of a read, that book. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Anyway, it was just interesting because Fleming writes women so appallingly, and I was quite excited by that book because I thought it would be interesting, an entire book where Fleming writes from the perspective of a woman, but it's just, yeah. One of the lines in it is, all women love semi-rape. And I was just like, interesting, Fleming, interesting that you are putting that thought into your female character's head. I just thought it was, yeah, anyway, enough about that. Calvin, my friend and I are watching every Bond film, one every weekend. She's never seen them. We're going to watch From Russia with Love in the next 20 minutes. Your videos are a big inspiration for her to get into Bond. Thanks. Oh, that's really nice, Cody K. Thank you. Always good to hopefully inspire other people to get into the Bond series. Wasn't Fleming married? Yeah, he was, but I don't think he let that get in the way of meeting other women, shall we say. Hi, Calvin. What happened to your original Johnny English review, and are you going to review Johnny English Strikes Again? Yeah, I'm going to review Johnny English Strikes Again. The original Johnny English review is one of those really annoying copyright things where I think it's been claimed in certain countries so you can see it. So like someone was asking me about it, and then I looked on and I could watch it, and I was like, it's fine, you can still watch it, but you can't in certain countries, which is really annoying. I uploaded a review of Austin Powers today, and that got the copyright claim, as a lot of these videos do, but that one's going to be available to view. I'm uploading that one on the 17th. I uploaded it for patrons today, actually. Yeah, today. Yeah. DC or Marvel? Oh, I don't really like superhero films all that much. I like DC Batman and I like X-Men for Marvel, and that's about it, really. Funniest line delivered by Denise Richards in Twine. I can't even remember it now, but there's one bit where she just comes out with a load of gobbledygook, and I used to know it by heart, and I was just like, oh, this is hilarious. I'm actually thinking about doing a video purely like a little dissertation on Denise Richards as Christmas Jones. I think it's just such a fascinating casting choice. Copyrighted by Warner Brothers Entertainment. Johnny English is Universal. I think Austin Powers was something else. I think because it's like a Studio Canal DVD I've got. Anyway, anything she says about nuclear physics. Oh, that's one of them where she's like, they're getting in the pipeline. And it's like, doesn't take a degree in nuclear physics. And then she just goes off. It's, I'm a nuclear physician with a straight face. It's that bit where she's like sauntering over and then she's like, oh, are you just hoping for a glimmer? Oh, yeah, no, it's that line about it's all weapons grade plutonium, reasonably safe, like all that stuff when she's just spouting that out. I'm just like, oh, this is amazing. They cast Denise Richards in this. Do you miss cinemas with moving curtains? That's an amazing question. Yes, I do. I used to go to the Rex Cinema in Elland when I was a kid up north. Elland's a very small town. And it was the kind of cinema where they had like an organ at the front and you would go in and there'd be someone playing like... And then they would open the curtain and then there would be an intermission. They would like literally cut the film in half. I still remember seeing Finding Nemo. And after they've been bouncing through all the jellyfish, the film just stopped. And then some lady came out with a load of chalk ice for everyone to go up and buy. Very funny. And they also like stuck in the national anthem at the end of every film, like before the credits rolled, which was really bizarre and old-fashioned. Calvin, could you see doing this as a full-time job? Well, I would be certainly open to that, but I don't think it's terribly viable. Yeah, but if I could make a living out of basically just making videos and talking to Bond fans about Bond films and all that kind of stuff, then yeah, I would totally do that. That would be a dream scenario, quite frankly. Can you put that in English for those of us who don't speak Spy? I love it. Everyone's just coming out with their favorite Denise Richards quotes now. It's amazing. Calvin, was Olga Korolenko okay in Johnny English Strikes Again? Yeah, actually, I thought she was really good. It was the villain that I really didn't like. I can't remember the actor's name. I don't think I've seen him anything before, but he was so wooden. It was like quite bad. Oh, EJ Finn, your message has been retracted. I don't know what it means when it occasionally pops up with message retracted. I don't know if it's like cutting out swearing or something, but yeah. That sounds terrible, lol. What cinema chain do you go to now? Whatever is... I don't really go to the cinema all that much anymore, I'm afraid, which is sad. When I was a student, it would be like, 3-4 times a week. But yeah, not so much anymore. It's so bloody expensive here in London. It's like £15 to go to see a regular film. It's really bad. How underrated is Psycho 2? Benin? I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, but yeah, you're amazing questions. Psycho 2 is one of my favorite films. I love Psycho 2. Hitchcock's Psycho is my very favorite film of all time. And I think Psycho 2 is a pretty awesome sequel. And of course, John Gavin is in Hitchcock's Psycho, and he was thought as a possibility to play Bond in Diamonds Are Forever. It didn't look like Sean Connery was going to come back. That would have been a terrible casting choice. I'm very glad that John Gavin did not get that role. Who should play Alex Rider in the upcoming TV show? I didn't know there was an Alex Rider TV show in development. That's really interesting. Psycho 2 is the ultimate surprisingly good sequel. I actually agree with that, Rockin' Chimp. The 00 Files. Is your fringe fixed by now, or does it still play the James... Oh, your fridge. I think you said fringe. No, my fridge... Well, I've moved flats several times since then, so my fridge no longer plays the 007, the James Bond theme, rather. What do I need to defuse a nuclear bomb? Me. Basically, just every line that Denise Richards has is hilarious. So if you need any protection at all, it's from me. I'm really enjoying doing these Denise Richards impressions tonight, by the way. This is coming from someone who, you know what, I wouldn't have The World Is Not Enough any other way. I wouldn't have anyone else in that role. I'll say that much. We don't see her anymore. We don't. Unfortunately, I think it's a problem that she made her career mostly out of being a gorgeous young thing, and now that she's a gorgeous not young thing, the roles just aren't there for her that much anymore, which is a shame. Do you think Benedict Cumberbatch would be a good 007? You know what, he actually probably would. Like, he'd be like a Fleming style Bond, which means he'd probably be very unlikable. I'm not a big fan of Benedict Cumberbatch. He's a little bit too, yeah, he's like Eddie Redmayne, all those public school boy, like, oh, we're RADA trained, darling, and all this kind of stuff. I think it's a real shame now that we don't have actors like Michael Caine or Sean Connery, who were proper like working class lads, come good, and can give amazing performances without the pretentiousness. Benedict Cumberbatch, Eddie Redmayne, all that. I was a bit excited coming out of Kingsman, actually, the first one with Taron Egerton. Because I was like, oh, wow, they found this guy who's like, I hadn't seen him in anything before. And then I saw interviews and he's like, oh, of course, he's fancy RADA trained and all that sort of stuff. Which I thought was a shame, because for a while I thought like, oh, wow, this guy's going to be a big star. And he's this kind of like, uncut diamond. Uncut diamond? Is that right phrase? I think it's the right phrase. What about Tom Hardy? Like Tom Hardy very much. Yep. 75 Egyptian pounds in Egypt for a cinema ticket. Jesus. I don't know what the exchange rate is, but 75. Yeah, anyway. Denise Richards or Keith Richards? What, as Dr. Christmas Jones? Keith Richards would be quite... You know what I just said about I wouldn't have The World's Not Enough any other way? If we could replace Denise Richards with Keith Richards, I would be willing to give that a shot. I think that would be very interesting. Oh, God. Welcome to Scotland. Name the film. Skyfall. Of course. Taron Egerton is awesome. He's a really good actor. Like, don't get me wrong. And I'm really looking forward to the Elton John film. Yeah. James, sorry, I just saw your comment, but yeah. I think he's really great. But I just on the subject of class and actors, not that I want to be classist or anything, but I think there is an oversaturation of upper middle class to upper class leading men and some rough diamond. Thank you, C. Williams. That's what I wanted to use to describe working class actors. Do you think Michael Caine should have appeared in a Bond film? I would have loved it, especially in one of the Roger ones. If he could have been one of Roger's mates who didn't die, that would have been very nice. Oh, sorry, I just saw there's a headlight just outside the window there. That's interesting. Anyway. Would you ever want to visit a Bond location set out of the UK? Oh my God, yes. I would love to visit a Bond location outside of the UK, but it's often because I don't have that many diehard Bond fans as friends who would be like willing to go on a holiday with me. So when I do go on holiday with my friends, it would take a lot for me to be like, hey guys, shall we go there and see that thing where Roger Moore walked down that street 45 years ago? But yeah, political positions. Oh God, we do not have time to talk about that. Yeah, there's a lot of political things to have positions on. You've diffused hundreds of these, right? Yeah, but they're usually standing still. Life's full of small challenges. Have a look at this. Someone stripped the screw heads. Someone's tampered with the bomb. Seems terribly difficult. No, it isn't, is it? Name the film and bit. Seems terribly difficult. No, it isn't, is it? Oh, I can't think MUFC match. You're going to have to help me out a bit with that one, I think. What is your full-time job? I work in animation. So children's television. In a sort of managerial capacity, if you can imagine me being a manager of anything. Have you seen Bullseye with Michael Caine and the late Roger Moore? I don't think I have, actually. I love that story that I think Michael Caine was telling it, that him and Roger Moore like traveled around France visiting vineyards in a Winnebago one summer. Could you imagine like driving down the motorway and you look over and it's those two and their wives like sipping wine in a Winnebago? That'd be amazing. Lazenby was more of a dull and boring Bond, but I love Unimaginative Concepts. Yes, I agree with that comment, actually. Lazenby, I'm kind of, yeah, you know, he wasn't an actor. That's the thing. What do you think of the alternate ending of Quantum of Solace? Well, of course, I haven't seen it, and if you have DSM 7555, I would be very curious for you to send me it. But I'm assuming you're referring to the one where he killed Mr. White. You know what? Maybe that would have been for the better, because then he couldn't have come back in Spectre. Yeah. Would Michael Caine have been a decent Bond? Quite possibly. I've seen the Ipcris file a long time ago, and I remember really liking that. Excuse me, hiccups. Could you do a Sean Connery impression, please? Well, Miss Moneypenny, you're embarrassing me. Yes, that's my Kelsey Grammer as Sean Connery impression. If any Frasier fans out there can name the episode that I took that from. Have you seen Drake and Josh? Yes, I have, James. Are you about to tell me that I look like Drake Bell? Because I used to get that quite a lot. I used to get Drake Bell and Jimmy Carr. Like, I used to work at Tesco's on weekends when I was in sixth form college, and the amount of customers that would, like, every 4 months probably someone would like, oh, excuse me, sorry, has anyone ever told you look just like Jimmy Carr? And I'm like, why do you tell people that they look like people who aren't attractive? Because it seems like such a backhanded compliment. Oh, you look like that sort of funny looking person. My dad says you look like Charlie Cox. That is the kind of comparison I can deal with. Thank you, 57-year-old James Bond. Charlie Cox is quite all right. Jimmy Carr laugh. Ha 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 ha. Kelsey Grammer would make a great Blofeld. I love Kelsey Grammer. Oh, Tyler saying I look like Drake Bell. Are you looking for something, or are you just here for a glimmer? I love that the Denise Richards quotes are still coming. This is brilliant. I get told I look like Macaulay Culkin. Do you, Dom 757200? British cinema or American cinema? That's interesting. And it depends. I'm probably more of a British cinema fan. Yeah, because I'm just thinking, like, when it comes to action movies, comedies, I think that, yeah, my sensibility is more British, probably because of my sense of humor. Yeah. Your chin reminds me of William Dafoe. Really? What, just this part of me reminds you of Willem Dafoe? That's interesting. Kate Winslet as a future M. That would be awesome. I would love to see Kate Winslet as a future M. DB5 blowing up or Spectre? That's a good question. That's really difficult. If I had to watch one or the other, the DB5 blowing up or Spectre, I'd probably take the DB5 blowing up. Richard Ayoade's a good person to look like, Alex. Great. 321. That's all right. Nothing beats UK cinema quite, Philip Watson. I will drink to that. Are you a fan of TV shows like The Simpsons, Family Guy, and South Park? I used to be a fan of The Simpsons. The Simpsons from series 1 to series 8 is pretty perfect. South Park I really liked back in the day. Family Guy I'm not overly keen on, but yeah. Have you seen Doom Patrol? I haven't seen Doom Patrol. Emma Thompson would be a good Emma. I saw her in Johnny English Strikes Again last night, and she was she was pretty good in that. I really like Emma Thompson. Fantastic actress. Thoughts on a female Bond? I'm not a fan of the idea. The one that annoyed me the most was when it was the BBC. I think I might have talked about this on a previous live stream, but the BBC Culture editor, what's his name, William Gotts or something like that, maybe. He was interviewing Viola Davies about the Widows film, the one with Liam Neeson and her in it. And they were just talking about the film. And then he ends the interview by saying, would you ever consider playing Bond? And then she was like, oh, well, they'd have to write her as a woman. And then it's like, well, why don't Viola Davies, why don't you go and do why don't you do an original spy? This is the thing that really annoys me, because if the people who claim that they want James Bond to be a woman actually went out to see films like Salt, Red Sparrow, Atomic Blonde, if those films actually made more money, they would become series. Like, I just don't understand. Like, there's plenty of room out there for a female spy adventure series. I just don't know why people think that they need to then piggyback on something else to get that through. Because then if you make James Bond a woman, it's not James Bond, it's something else. So That's my take on it anyway. Just do a female agent. Why does she have to be Bond? Exactly, David James. That is exactly the point. Oh, hi, David West. Hi. David, who I met, I've met a couple of times actually, but he's a really great guy. Worked at Bond in Motion, or works at Bond in Motion, rather. It's still going for a few more weeks. Ooh, Dutch Bond fan. Are you concerned with the new copyright laws? I'm not sure how this will affect our work in future projects. No, it's quite, there's this big, I think it's a European Union thing. I've not looked into it all that much. To be honest, I just keep doing it. And, yeah, and then see how far I go until I can't do it anymore, basically. I mean, so long as the videos can be viewed on YouTube, that's my only major concern. Yeah, and then there's some like the Skyfall review and Johnny English ones that get taken down and stuff and aren't viewable in certain countries, and that's when I'm like, this is a real pain. Okay, favorite Kiefer Sutherland performance. I was a big fan of 24, specifically 24 season 5. Brilliant. Don't need female Bond, just bring back Modesty Bliaze? Oh, I don't know what that is, Gary Bryant. But do you miss Leeds? I do miss Leeds sometimes, but London's pretty awesome. But I missed being a student in Leeds. Leeds is a really good town for being a student in. It really bothers me that in Octopussy we don't get to hear Roger Moore's northern accent because his cover is as a guy from Leeds, and I would just love to have heard Roger Moore's northern accent. I used to live in Stockwell in London, and they have a little Roger Moore mural very near Stockwell Tube Station that I used to walk past every single day on my way back to the flat. That was pretty cool because, of course, he was born and raised in Stockwell. Matt Unwin, hello. Thanks, James. Who is your favorite Roger Moore villain and why? Sorry, I just look over at the poster of all the posters. My backdrop is over there from when I'm recording the videos. Hugo Drax. I love Hugo Drax. Do you like James Dean? I've only seen Rebel Without a Cause, and I know he only made like 3 movies. He's great. Yeah. Rebel Without a Cause is a great film. Yeah. Kelly Brook as a Bond girl. Not so sure. But then my only experience of Kelly Brook is, wasn't she a judge on Britain's Got Talent or something like that? And then she was in Piranha 3D, if anyone has seen that. And I went to see it in 3D when I was a student, sat there with like the glasses on in the cinema. And there is this gratuitous sequence where Kelly Brook is completely naked, making out with this other woman underwater. And when you're watching it in 3D in the cinema, it's the most surreal thing because it's just like this like naked Kelly Brook like floating in front of you, like turning around, kissing this other woman, and it was just surreal. I was just there with like my friend who was next to me, and then there was like 2 other people in front of us, and a guy and a girl. I'm assuming they were a couple. And the guy just kept rolling his head back every time something, which was presumably arousing him, would come on, which I thought was interesting. Hello, Calvin. Will you review more of Dynamite's Bond comics? Yes, I will. I've got quite a few of them here, actually. This is just a few of them. But I've got the Felix Leiter one, I've got Kill Chain, I've got Black Box, Hammerhead. Yeah, so I've got quite a few. It's very handy, actually, having all these books here next to me while I'm doing this live stream. Just bought this little beauty recently. I did a video about it, but the Folio Society edition of Moonraker is quite gorgeous. Absolutely love this. I'm going to be building up my collection of these as display pieces because they're really quite beautiful, unlike the tatty old paperbacks that I use for reading on the tube. I mean, look at that. That is the cover for Moonraker, and it's like a blurry picture of a car speeding past. It's very unusual. Yes, anyway, sorry. Right. Peter Dinklage as Bond villain. Yeah, I'd go with that. I do like Peter Dinklage. I watched Man Never Dies for the first time last week. Loved it. Do you think negative reception has anything to do with it having followed up GoldenEye? I do actually, yeah, because GoldenEye is one that everyone seems to love, and then you follow it up with something else. But especially because Tomorrow Never Dies had the rushed production that it did. I don't think that helped it much. Do you own a plush face hugger? No, but I want one. If someone could send me one, that would be very nice. I was in HMV once, like when I was a student ages ago, and I was buying a DVD, I can't remember what it was. And the guy behind the thing was just like, if I gave you an Alien shirt, would you wear it? Like the HMV worker. And I was like, and he was like, for free. And I was like, oh yeah, all right then. And he gave me it, and it was just like this. It was like the top of a face hugger on the chest, and then if you lifted up the shirt, it was like the underneath of a face hugger. And then presumably you would run around with your shirt like that at people. I don't know. Anyway, I never wore it. Sorry, HMV man. Favorite Game of Thrones character? I mentioned earlier on, so sorry for repeating myself, people, but Cersei Lannister is my favorite Game of Thrones character. Really excellent live stream. You're a natural on camera. Keep up the great work. Oh, thanks, Vinny. Hope the Godfathers are going down well. Because Vinny's drinking Godfather cocktails. A very good cocktail. This mint julep has been all right, but I'm, yeah. All the ice is completely gone now. I shall be sticking to bourbon with no ice in future. Fave toy growing up from Philip Watson. I was a huge fan of Beast Wars Transformers. I love Transformers toys because they were just like, they were these like complex things that you would do in front of grown-ups, and then they'd look at you like, how the hell would you? And then they'd try and do it themselves, and they couldn't do it. And I always liked that as a kid. Like, I had this like ability that they can't do. I understand this thing, and I think that was a big reason. Oh, well, also they were just really fun. Favorite Bond game? Probably Nightfire, I think. Do you like Charlie Chaplin? I love Charlie Chaplin. Sorry, I do in fact have, sorry, I'm just gonna leave the camera for a moment. I have a picture here because I'm still in my new flat and I still need to put this up. I bought this at a street market in Georgia. That's the European Georgia. The Georgia where Xenia Onatop is from. And I do need to get it up some point. But yeah. Sorry, I just saw the question about Charlie Chaplin. Great Dictator is one of my favorite films. I love The Great Dictator. What do you think about the Michael Bay Transformers films? They're terrible. Absolutely horrible. Horrible movies, apart from the first one, which is okay. Would you welcome the return of a cat for a Bond villain? Well, we did get the return of a cat in Spectre, of course. Yeah, if you've got Blofeld, you've got to have the cat. Hi, Calvin. What's your favorite Spectre agent and why? Probably Fiona Volpe or Helga Brandt. I like the femme fatale Spectre agents. Do you like Chris Pratt? I think he's all right. Every time you mention the bourbon with no ice, all I think of is the scene from Dine of the Day where the bartender says, "That's extra, man." Yeah. Oh. I tell a lie. You know what? I actually like bourbon with those those like stones that you can get, those stone cubes, and you put them in the freezer and they stay cold, and then you put them in your whiskey. I like it with that because it doesn't water down the whiskey, but it just gives it that little bit of a chill, which is quite nice, I think. Do you think that if Jinx movie was actually made and was successful, that could have led to a James Bond extended cinematic universe? Quite possibly, and I'm just kind of glad that it didn't. Red D, do you drink lager? I do not drink lager. I don't drink lager or beer. I drink mainly spirits and wine. Whiskey is my go-to drink. So I drink whiskey mainly, vodka, and any kind of wine, and cider, like some cider. Yeah, beer and lager and gin I'm not overly keen on. Those are the only drinks that I don't really go in on. Are you going to see the Joker movie starring Joaquin Phoenix? I think it looks great. I haven't actually watched the trailer yet. The whole DC movie universe thing is so completely... yeah, they're having trouble with their sustainability of that franchise. So I'm just kind of yeah. Ever tried Gentleman Jack? It's quite strong, a better kind of like novel James Bond would have drank. I have had Gentleman Jacks before. Yeah. Yeah, and I would have it all the time. It's just a little bit more expensive. So gotta keep the purse strings tight, you know. I'm back, full of food and with an Irish coffee. Well, welcome back, Ben Cole. Ben Cole? What is your least favorite Batman film and why? Oh, that's a good question. Probably Batman Forever. I just find it quite dull. I think even though Batman and Robin is a worse film, it's just, yeah. It's so crazy that it works. It's pronounced Joaquin. What did I say? Did I say Yaquin? Joaquin. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yaquin? Joaquin? Anyway. I'm more into Jameson's. Oh, no, Jameson's very good. I have a colleague at work who insists on us having Jameson's every time we go out, and he turns his nose up at my Jack Daniels, which I'm not getting sponsored for, but it is a fabulous drink. Anyway, I'm going to top up mine a bit more now because it's gone a little bit. I love how I started out with a mint julep, and I'm pretty much ending up with a bourbon no ice. But just a few mint leaves. What caused you to stop reviewing Hitchcock movies? It was just because I wanted to focus in the channel on being Bond specific, and it's only recently, like with the patron voting, that I've sort of opened up beyond that because I wanted to have more of a purpose to it rather than just deciding, I'm going to do this now, because then if I go down that route, I'd do other things, and I don't know if that would be good for the channel. So yeah, I'm drinking Jack Daniels in my coffee. Well done, Ben. Well done. Who is your favorite and least favorite Batman villain and why? Sam Harrison, you have all of the Batman questions tonight, but my favorite Batman villain is probably Harley Quinn, and my least favorite that I've seen, probably the Riddler. I've never been a fan of the Riddler. He's just like a slightly crap Joker. Gary Bryant, ever tried a cigar? I have not tried a cigar, but I would quite like to. But I understand that it's very different from smoking, because like when you smoke a cigarette, you like take the smoke back into your throat and then exhale. Cigars, you don't. You just kind of swill it around in your mouth. And I think that would be quite difficult to get used to. Are you going to see Endgame? I remember that you didn't mind Infinity War. In the opening of Infinity, do you see shots of the game? I will see Endgame, but I'm just not. Even if I have to wait until it's out on DVD, then I'm fine doing that. Thoughts on Twin Peaks? Absolutely love Twin Peaks. Brilliant series. Opinion of Dave Bautista in Spectre. I thought he was fine. Yeah, I like Dave Bautista. I've seen him in plenty of things, but yeah. Do you smoke weed? Oh, sorry. I was going to try and think of the Bill Clinton. Oh no, it was Tony Blair. Was it Tony Blair who said that? Oh, I can't remember. I was trying to think of a funny thing to say. I can't think of a funny thing to say. What do you make of the recent news that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is working on the Bond script? I absolutely loved Killing Eve, and it was one of my favorite series of last year. So I am thrilled that she's going to have some involvement in the next Bond film. Her dialogue is so witty and snappy, and I think she's a great addition. Mariah Carey is the Bond villain. No. Have you seen Dante's Peak starring Pierce Brosnan? Yes. I thought that was really, great. Great disaster flick from the 90s. I really enjoyed that film. Oh, I do. George Alexander. Yes, the Universal monster movies from the 30s and 40s. Really, really love. Especially Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein. Really good. James Bond, you didn't answer. Well, Clinton, I did not have any relations with that. No, one of them said something about smoking marijuana, and I can't remember if it was Clinton or Blair. Hi, Calvin. What do you think of The Bodyguard? Really enjoyed it, except for the last episode, which I thought was very disappointing. Yeah. Hi, Calvin. Forgot to mention on the DMs that I won the comp for your Unifilm on DVD years ago. Still have it somewhere. Oh, that's amazing. Thoughts on Michael Fassbender as Bond? I think he's a little bit too old now, but I think that Michael Fassbender would have been a good Bond maybe like 10 years ago or something. And from my film, you are, of course, talking about The Bride of Vernon, which was my university animation, which won Manchester Film Festival 2012, the Cobbett's UK Short Film category Best Film. I just have Bond books and personal achievements on the shelf next to my desk. Yeah, but and I wasn't intending on pulling out these props, but they've been quite handy tonight. But I did not inhale, Bill Clinton. Thank you, Wayne Downey. Thank you. Yes, I did not inhale. Worst John Travolta movie? Oof, there's too many. What's that Scientology one? Battlefield Earth, is it? That one was really bad. I haven't seen it in years, though. Have you seen After the Sunset with Pierce Brosnan? It's funny. I have, actually. And, yeah, it's been a while now. Greg Kinnear's in that film, isn't he? Yeah, no, interesting. Interesting one. Caleb Henshaw, your short film is very good. Thank you, Caleb. Thank you. It's been quite a while now since I've watched it. Some of the animation isn't as good as I would have liked, but, you know, it's, yeah. Have you seen The Matador with Pierce Brosnan? I think I have, but I can't remember much about it. Oh, thank you, Douglas Caine. That's a very kind comment. Anticipated film of the year, Star Wars I'm really looking forward to, and the Quentin Tarantino film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah, really looking forward to both of those. Have you heard the news about Phoebe Waller-Bridge? Yes, and I'm very excited about it. Very, very excited. Only time I won something from the radio was GoldenEye on DVD. Already on Laserdisc. But still, that's, you know, that's a pretty good thing to win. Oh, thank you, Vanessa Harrop. It's a very nice comment. It's nice. Yeah, no, I'm surprisingly not as tanked as I was on the last live stream. Tanked, I said it again. Someone called me out on it earlier for sounding a bit too Midwestern US. I am British, so I should be pissed. I'm not as pissed as I was. Do you enjoy Black Mirror? Yes, but I thought Bandersnatch was one of the worst media experiences I've had in years. I hated Bandersnatch. What's your opinion on the Adam West Batman show? I haven't seen much of it. The bits that I have seen have been really good. What's your opinion on A Fish Called Wanda? Love it. Really good. I disagree on Bandersnatch. Yeah, I know. It's not a popular opinion that I have. My problem with Bandersnatch was, if you will, humor me by listening to this, is that Bandersnatch was the multiple choice thing on Netflix, for those of you who don't know. So you had a choice of making your character turn left or right, and then it would stream off on a different branch. The thing that annoyed me the most is that whatever route you take, the universe that the story existed in would change. So if you did one thing, the main character's dad was like this secret agent. If you did another thing, he was just a regular guy. And I didn't like that, because if you're going to give me a multiple choice thing, your universe, your world that you're setting this in needs to be consistent. And I'm exploring it like a game. And a game can't change halfway through depending on which way you go, which is what Bandersnatch did, which really annoyed me. C. Williams agrees with me anyway. Yeah, I agree that a Bandersnatch like espionage film would work really well, but it needs to be consistent. It needs to be, it needs to be one universe. Have you seen My Family? Is that the sitcom? With Zoe Wanamaker? Yeah, I have. Yeah, I enjoyed it back when it was on. It's not been on in a while. Bandersnatch was fine, but it kind of loses its luster quickly for me, especially after I found most of the endings. It's no replacement for a normal episode. Quite agree. I'm not a fan of these kind of 360 VR. I do not think we are going to be experiencing feature films in VR, because it becomes incredibly difficult for a director to tell you to tell a story, because it's not up to them what you're looking at, it's up to you. So I can be looking over there and missing something important that's going on over there. People really go crazy about virtual reality, and I just don't think it's going to be... I think it's going to be great for gaming. I don't think it's going to be great for cinema experiences. Do you like The Inbetweeners? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. That came out at a really good time for me because I was at sixth form at the time, so I was just like those characters' ages. At least I think I was. Vinny Harris has said 6 Godfathers. You'll be pissed, I think. Godfathers is... Am I right? Because a Godfather for me is a Disaronno and whiskey cocktail, which is really nice. And my mint julep has just turned into slightly watery whiskey with mint leaves in it. Worst moment in a James Bond video game. The skiing bit in 007 Legends is pretty horrific. Really irritating. I like you, Calvin. Thank you, Toby Wright. That's very kind of you to say. Thank you. Why don't you like Harry Potter? I don't like magic very much. Magic irritates me from a narrative perspective because, bloody blah, I can do this. It really annoys me, especially in one of the last films in the Deathly Hallows. There's a bit where Harry, Ron, and Hermione are falling down a chasm, and Hermione magic, and then they stop and they don't fall and splat themselves. Later on in the film, there's a whole group of guys. Neville Longbottom blows up a bridge, and all these guys are like falling down and presumably to their deaths. And it's like, well, if I'm a wizard, there are a few spells that I'm gonna make sure that I know, and one of them is if I'm falling off a large height, I want to be able to stop myself, and I don't buy that those wizards don't know that particular spell. I don't like magic either. There's no such thing as magic. Is Disaronno Jack Daniels and Coke? Yes, that's it, Vinny. It's a damn good cocktail. I need to get some more Disaronno in, actually. Have you seen The Exorcist 2? No, I haven't. Extremely unpopular opinion. GoldenEye Reloaded is my least favorite Bond game. That is an extremely unpopular opinion. 57-year-old James Bond. God, it's 9:30. I've only just realised I've been gabbing away for hours now. I'm going to probably call it quits in about 15 minutes. So if there are any particularly pressing questions you want me to ask, I recommend... Actually, no, I was going to say you can @ me in your comment at Calvin Dyson, and then it'll show up orange for me. And that gets my attention a bit more. Dutch Bond Fan was doing it earlier on, so Dutch Bond Fan just did it then, right on cue. But he does it, like, grabs my attention because I see this, like, orange block. Since I got to rewatch Pocahontas after years yesterday, Pocahontas, I really liked it. It might be an underrated Disney film. What do you think of the film? I really don't like it, actually. Pocahontas is one of my least favorite ones, purely because I feel like Disney became a little bit too Oscar baity with that. So it was like after Beauty and the Beast got nominated for a Best Picture at the Oscars, they were like, we can get Oscars out of this now. And it just felt a bit too... That and Hunchback of Notre Dame suffer that same thing for me. Whereas something like The Lion King actually ended up being a better film, even though it wasn't seen as that prestigious a project. The behind-the-scenes documentary is really interesting, actually, on The Lion King, because the animators talk about like how they were all offered, you can either work on Pocahontas, which is this really great script, and we're going to win lots of awards with it and everything, or you can work on this thing about animals, or I don't know, and all the main animators went to Pocahontas, and then some of the B list, if you will, except for Andreas Deja, who animated Scar. He worked on Lion King. Sorry, sorry, I've missed a load of questions now because I just got triggered on Disney. You don't like Magic? Not even Magic Mike? Magic Mike was all right. Magic Mike's pretty good. Right. Did you see the new Star Wars Episode 9 trailer? Yes, and I liked it a lot. Thoughts on Danger Mouse? I really love Danger Mouse. Have you ever seen Sherlock Holmes in New York with Roger Moore as Holmes and Patrick Meany as Watson? No, I haven't, but that is something that I'm going to have to check out. Anything to see those two team up again. Do you reckon a gritty Tarantino Dalton Bond film would be cool? Now with Dalton? I'd like to see Tarantino and Brosnan, actually. I love you, Calvin. Thank you, Philip Watson. Upgraded from like. Okay, do you know what Timothy Dalton's third Bond movie was supposed to be about? Property of a Lady, wasn't it? There are some really good articles online about it that I recommend looking up. I can't actually remember offhand. I think you have to put Calvin Bond review for him to see the orange, not just at Calvin. Oh, right. Yes. Yes. Kalen? Salen? I know it's your. Have you seen? Oh, sorry. There's a lot of questions coming up. Have you seen Twin Peaks? Yes, I have, and I love Twin Peaks. A lot of Twin Peaks questions tonight. What do you think about Shane Rimmer? Oh, it's sad that he passed away, of course. Very sad, actually. But pondering on rewatching The Spy Who Loved Me. Should I? Yes, you should, Lennon Voss. Spy Who Loved Me is a brilliant movie, one of the best Bond films. What are your thoughts on... Oh, wow, that tasted of mint. Maybe it's finally muddled. What are your thoughts on the Dollars trilogy? I'm assuming you mean Man with No Name and all those. I've seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and I haven't seen the other ones. Best YouTuber. Thank you, James Bond. What was your opinion on Superman films? I've only seen two. I've seen Superman and Superman Returns. Thanks. Oh, thank you, Cameron. It's very kind of you to say. What's your favorite James Bond gadget? I'm going to have a top 10 James Bond gadgets video up very soon, so I am going to leave you in suspense on that one. Thoughts on historical Bond film, one set in the time of the original books, the original stories? I like the idea, but I think we talked about this on the James Bond and Friends podcast a few weeks ago, where I just don't think that anyone is actually going to put up the money to do that. There's too much... controversial, to be putting it lightly, but there's a lot of stuff that Fleming wrote that no one's going to commission in this day and age. So, yeah. Perfect pronunciation the first time. Thank you, Kalen. I think that's how I pronounced it the first time. Does Jaws' girlfriend have braces or not? She doesn't. I don't know if I ever thought she did. I know that a lot of people had that, but yeah. Oh, thank you, James Bond, being very kind. Thank you. Should I watch The Return? I don't know what The Return is. Do you think The Dark Knight is the best comic book film? No. No, I do not. I think X2 is probably my favorite superhero movie. Would Udo Kier have been a good Bond villain? Probably, if he hadn't sullied himself by being in... what's that dreadful director's name? Uwe Boll. If he hadn't been in a load of his films, probably. What's your least favorite film and why? I hate The Happening. The M. Night Shyamalan film. It's just appalling. Still can't get over you not being keen on Tom Cruise. I'm sorry, Tom Cruise is just dreadful. Very irritating little man. Do you think Moonraker's underrated? I don't think it's underrated. I think it's probably rated as well as it deserves. I just love it from a real personal place. What did you think of Diamonds Are Forever when you first saw it? Well, it was the second Bond film I saw, so I must have liked it because I kept on watching the movies. Right, Calvin, I'm off to bed now. Early shift reckons. Oh, thank you, Don. Oh, that's really kind. Thank you. Sleep well, and yeah. Hope the shift goes well. Anyway, and that it's not too early. I hope you're not up at 3 a.m. or something like that. Have you seen Unbreakable with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson? I did, and I didn't really like it. Have you seen Timeless? If so, have you seen the episode where Ian Fleming is in it? Oh, no, I haven't, actually. Okay, sorry, I'm just going to make a note of that on my thing. Yeah, okay, awesome. Be careful, Calvin. Uwe Bo isn't to box his critics. I know, and I wouldn't get into the boxing ring with him. I'm more than happy to stay out of that. What's your favorite martini? A Vespa. I love a Vespa. Love a Vespa. I went quite northern, then that's me northern coming out. Favorite James Bond comic you've read so far? I haven't read all that many. I like Varga quite a bit. It's just Lenham. Voss is Dutch for Fox, which is my last name. Lenham Fox. Not one of the Fox actors, are you? James Fox, all those. Have a nice night, Calvin. I love your reviews. Oh, thank you. It's very kind. Very nice. Electric Aston Martin for Bond 25. I don't actually mind if the Aston Martin is electric or not. I really don't care. If it looks good, it looks good. How the engine sounds, I'm much less concerned with. Oh, 3 a.m. starts. That would not be good. Newcastle Airport. Hey, Calvin, thoughts on a James Bond musical? I'd be totally up for it. Yeah. Someone else asked that earlier on. Have you read either of Charles Heffelstein on the making of Living Day? Yeah, asking me about the making of Living Daylights and Untitled Secret Service books. No, I haven't actually, but I really should get to them because I've heard they're really great. I think I would probably start with On Her Majesty's Secret Service because that's a film that I like a lot more than Living Daylights. So I'll give that a go. Do you like anime or not your thing? I like some anime. I liked Attack on Titan, and that was a thing. That was really good. I'm raising my last Godfather to you now. Thank you, Vinny. You must be on your 7th by now. What? No noise, Aston? You want no V8 or V12? I don't know I don't know what happens on the inside of cars. So I love Aston Martin purely from a design. If a car looks good, I will just look at it and that, I will get all the pleasure that I can get out of it from that, not what noise it makes when I put my foot down to go from A to B. Aston Martin just look like they're just so beautiful. They look like they were poured. They look like they're just like dripped out of a tap. They're so just gorgeous car. Thank you, Toby Sawyer, very kind comment from you there. Thank you. Do you like Connery's hairy chest? It's not something I've ever taken a stance on, actually. No, sorry, I was just thinking about it then. I was like, should I have a stance on it? No, I don't really. It doesn't. It has never bothered me one way or the other. Has anyone seen the Hitchcock film Marnie? Just while we're on the subject of Sean Connery body hair, in Marnie, a Hitchcock film that I believe was filmed in between From Russia with Love and Goldfinger, they did something to Sean Connery's eyebrows, and they look so thin and unnatural. It's really weird. I don't know why Hitchcock insisted on having his eyebrows plucked, but if that's indeed what happened. But it's just really... Oh, Philip's seen Marnie. Oh, no, I love Marnie. Marnie is a really good Sean Connery performance as well. 57-year-old James Bond, will you be drinking a Heineken in the next stream? No, I will not. It is not... if they want to sponsor me, then yes, I will. Actually, no, if Jack Daniels wants to sponsor me, I'll continue drinking Jack Daniels. I'm going to have to take suggestions for the next drink I'm going to be drinking on live stream. I like defining these live streams by whatever drink is being drunk. Tippi Hedren is amazing in Marnie. I quite agree. Let's be honest, Calvin, you must have wrote your own fanfic Bond story already as a kid, right? I never did, actually. I wrote my own Psycho movie outline for Psycho 5. I was going to do Psycho 5, but will you review the Young Bond books by Charlie Higson? They're certainly on my list. I'll certainly aim to get to them at some point. Just having a cola. Here's to you. Oh, thank you. It's very kind. What about Roger's jiggling chest in Live and Let Die? Roger Moore is surprisingly smooth. I will say that for him. He's like very smooth chest. I mean, Craig, obviously, you can imagine him in the shower in a morning shaving. Roger, not so much. I just assume that's natural. Top 3 favorite Hitchcock films. Psycho, The Birds, North by Northwest, maybe? Yeah. Right. Non-stop shots in the next stream. That would be an interesting stream. Are you going to rebuy all the Bond films again when they come out on 4K Blu-ray? Yeah. I've been trying to tell myself, no, do not do it again. You do not have to buy these films. You've got them all on VHS. You got them all on special edition DVD. You got them all on Ultimate Edition DVD and Blu-ray. You do not need them again in a slightly higher def. But I'm going to buy them. Of course, I'm going to buy them. Oh, Rear Window's a very good Hitchcock film as well. And Vertigo as well. Vertigo I like very much. I'm doing a lot of cheersing to people calling out Hitchcock films. Do you like The Simpsons? Yes. Is 4K confirmed? It's not confirmed, I don't think, but it's inevitable. I think it's going to happen. Do you still have the VHS tapes? Yeah, I do. I got them up north. at my parents' home. I really like them. It's that the sorry, I'm losing my voice now. I've just been talking for like nearly 3 hours. Yeah, when they all connect up and it's all the Bond actors, it's really, really good. I really like it. Okay, I'm just gonna do like answer a couple more questions, and then I'm just gonna say my goodbyes. And I'm actually gonna go and sit on the sofa and watch a bit of North by Northwest. It's my patron poll option for, well, one of them for next month, and it's currently winning, or at least it was winning when I last looked. So it's looking likely that will be the one that I review for next month's non-Bond review. This month's is going to be Austin Powers, and that is going to be up in 3 days on the 17th. So yeah, I hope you like it. Please comment on it and all that. Okay, I'm just going to answer a couple more questions. And sorry, it's just like when I look at the thing, I just like pick one at random, really, just like, oh, what if my eyes go on? So I'm sorry if I don't answer your question, but I will be doing another one of these at some point in the future. So yeah, don't. Right. The Bond books continuity gets crazy after Thunderball. The Spy Who Loved Me doesn't come after Thunderball chronologically. No, it does, doesn't it? Because they mention Spectre and Blofeld. And that's only introduced in Thunderball, isn't it? Anyway, that wasn't a question, so I'll do more. Have you been to Madame Tussauds? Daniel Craig looks better in London than New York. And I have not been to Madame Tussauds, or I did, but it was for a work event, and we were only there for Marvel thing. Oh no, Star Wars rather. So I only saw the Star Wars part of the exhibit. I did not see everything else, unfortunately. Look forward to your next live stream. Keep them going. Thank you. Well, I hope to do them every like few months or so, because it is fun. Like, I do quite like this. It's very nice to sort of like, yeah, get to know some of you guys a bit better and stuff. It's like, yeah, it's nice. I like it. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to my mad, drunken ramblings. Right, okay. Calvin, have you ever been to Derby? I don't think I have. Should I? Oh, hi, Jack. Sorry, Jack, if you've only just joined, I'm going to be switching off soon. But thank you, Ben Cole. It's been a pleasure. It really has. Are you a fan of Stanley Kubrick? There is an event at the Design Museum, actually, and I'm looking to go to that. I do like Stanley Kubrick quite a lot. Dr. Strangelove is one of my favorite movies. Absolutely love it. How much did you spend on the Bond VHS tapes and DVDs, and how do you justify the investments? Well, it made sense at the time. I don't justify something in the sense of I buy it and it will last forever. Some things I buy and I will get X amount of enjoyment out of it for however many hours, and that justifies the purchase to me. It's pronounced Derby. Oh, sorry, Red D. Calvin, what happens if they introduce Smersh in the Bond reboot continuity? Russians would get a bit annoyed, wouldn't they? Oh, yeah. Thanks, Dutch Bond fan. Yes, talk soon. Definitely talk soon. I missed your last live stream, so please do another one where I can actually join in. That'd be really nice. Hope you have a good night. Okay, great. I'm going to say goodbye now. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in and everything. And you can always follow me on Twitter or something if you want to talk a bit more. I just need to rest my voice a bit now because it's going a little bit. So I'm gonna go and finish off this and watch a little bit of North by Northwest. And yeah. Have a nice sleep in preparation for work tomorrow. So thank you everyone for being so kind as well and asking like really interesting and fun questions. I hope this has been fun for you because it has been for me. And yeah, no, it's just God, my voice really is going now. It's a good job I don't have any cigarettes in. Oh, cheers, thank you. Everyone's being very nice. Everyone is really nice. I think that the Bond fan community is just like the nicest, most accepting, and easygoing of any fandom that I've had any experience with. Not that I'm a big Marvel fan or Doctor Who fan or anything, and I'm sure that there are really great people in those fandoms, but there are also a lot of very provocative trolls in those fandoms. In the Bond fandom, I don't feel like we have that. I feel like it is just a very nice family group. It feels that way. And even though we all disagree, like hardly anyone's like top, Bond movie ranking is going to be the same. And we might disagree on that, but we don't like have a go at each other about it or, try and tear each other down. And that's really nice. Watch out, Calvin. There is always the annoying fan in the community. Are you implying that I am that annoying fan, gold member 1208? Okay, right. Yes, that is. On that note, I will say goodnight. And thank you very much for tuning in. It's much appreciated. So long for now, Bond fans. Have a good night. And to everyone watching Game of Thrones, please do not message me any spoilers. Okay, goodbye, Bond fans.